Welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks for Truck Series. I'm your host, Mega31. Unfortunately, again, this is going to be another speculation video because it's same day practice and qualifying. It's a night race, and there's only, I think, like a 2 or 3 hour window in between when practice and qualifying ends and the actual race. So it's going to be a mad scramble. But as always, you can go to the description of the video, sign up for FSI DFS, and it's $5 for a whole week, and that will get you at least the three races this weekend for it. So it's not a bad deal at all, and you'll get the updated sheet and the accurate projections and everything once we get what the actual practice and qualifying and starting order are. So again, the speculation videos, we've done about 2 or 3 of them this season so far, and they've actually not been like super accurate because I don't have a crystal ball and can't but the numbers really have made some drivers pop, and we'll highlight them as we go through this. And actually last week we did pretty well because I felt that Tori Brenninger in her debut would be decent, and she had a good run. I like Jake Garcia and Nicolas Sanchez. They both ended up in the top 10. She actually made what else was a good one? Well, we said that, Josh Reaume would be better in the 22 truck than he was in his normal truck, and he actually finished 24th. So, and we were down on some drivers like Timothy Veens, and he finished dead last because we didn't like the tech on that. And so how did we make this up? And I guess the good news is for Xfinity and for Cup, we should have the information before the race. So I'll try to bang out Xfinity tonight or really early tomorrow morning for Saturday's race, and Cup, same thing. It'll either be done late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. So you'll have the starting order and everything and pretty much an accurate sheet for that. So what did I do here? I looked at current form for the season, history of Darlington, the ones that didn't have Darlington. I had to go back to like Martinsville for trucks, as trucks really haven't run any high tire wear tracks, and this is definitely one where you need to know the track and be careful not to get that Darlington stripe riding up too high into the wall. And then not only is it a fashion statement on your car, but it could also end your day. But it's a high tire wear track. We saw a little bit of fall off in Martinsville, so it's the only thing really comparable for some of these drivers that are young that have never raced at this track before for this year. And I'll point some of them out as we get to it, but there's plenty of them that do have Darlington experience. Got some Cup guys in here. So I looked at Darlington 22, Darlington 21. With the Cup series, it's really hard for, there's maybe only a handful of drivers that like last like more than 2 years in this series, because a lot of them come up and don't do well, or a lot of them come up and then move up to Xfinity, or it's just like it's a great series because you have probably about 10 drivers that are here year after year, potentially, and the other like 30, 40 some that rotate in and out are exactly rotate in and out. So but that's what's good, this truck series, to really be like some guys just love it and make a career of it, and others, it's to get their taste of, start in the NASCAR system and to move up progressively through the ranks. So I looked at Homestead also. It's another tire wear track with a lot of fall off. The other track is Dover, but the trucks don't run there, so that one I can't use. So that's how I kind of put this together. So let's start at the top. So qualifying order, I used average starting position for the season for 2023. So Ty Majeski, if we go by that formula, we'd have the pole here. Thor Sports, I think it's cash play. Price is good driver. Price is usually pretty high. His own Homestead numbers were much better than Darlington, but I think, that being a comparable tire wear track, running like average running position of third, and 2 races here, both one top 5, average finish of 8th, really leads me to believe that he's a decent cash play here. But again, it's all going to depend on where he starts. Eckes, like the price at 8,600. Again, looks better at Homestead than Darlington. Average running position was 12th. In the 2 races here, average finish 11th. Again, 1 top 5, 1 top 10. Led 2 laps, so that really doesn't mean much. But it doesn't look like it's been a dominator here. Zane Smith is always popular, 10-7. Most expensive guy. It's not a cup driver here. So I'm sure he'll be pretty popular. He ran Darlington last couple of years, 9-7, 11. He's second overall in composite average when I looked at everything, and it's got him actually projected to win this race. 4 races, 2 top 10s, 12th average, finish. Didn't dominate a bunch here, but, maybe with some of the other trucks that have graduated out and got drivers, like maybe his opportunity. So definitely, consider Zane Smith a potential dominator here. Nicholas Sanchez is having a great young season. Like I said last week, he ran a decent race, ended up finishing 6th, started 6th, so he held his position the whole race. So sometimes, with these young drivers, you might be hesitant if they start in the top 10 to think that they're going to hold their top 10 position. But I think Sanchez is talented in doing that. His race here, I used the Martinsville one, but he has led laps this season. And I think that he's definitely someone to consider in cash. Ben Rhodes, 4 races at this track, 15th average finish, has 1 win, 2 top 5s, 38 laps. So here's someone who's gotten out there and figured out how to lead. If you look at his composite for like all the tire wear tracks and everything, it comes back as the number 1. So I flirted with making him a prime play. So definitely someone to look at. So I'm going to give him the purple as somebody just to kind of, during this speculation to consider as like a really decent play when the real lineups come out here. So he's somebody that could potentially go out, dominate, do well. You save $1,000 from Zane Smith, so keep in mind. Corey Heim has struggled at this track. He only finished 1 race here. If I look at his composite average among the tracks, like he did really well at Martinsville last weekend, finishing 2nd. Had the best average running position in the race. He's one that potentially could go out and lead laps. So all is going to depend on where he starts. But just looking at his like Martinsville history, it kind of concerns me. So it's track history versus recent form. So I think that, having 2 races here and, again, at 99, I need him to have a better finish in like average running position, I think. So he's going to be GPP for me. Chase Purdy, same thing. He's in a Kyle Busch truck. He's in good equipment, but the 6,800 price tag lets you know that. And look at his 2 darlings starts average running position. Again, I don't think it was in as good equipment, but 23 and 28, 28th average finishing position. He's had 3 races here. Homestead wasn't great. 24th in composite. My thing has him starting 7th and finishing 26th. So GPP for me, unless he starts way in the back, unless he starts 25th or worse, I don't think I'm playing any Chase Purdy. Carson Hocevar, I think I'm going to lock in potentially as a prime play here. People are going to look at his recent form. He got in an accident last week. It wasn't his fault, I don't believe, but ended up not having a good day. Started 20th, struggled a little bit in qualifying, 31st. He does have a win, even though, it was kind of a lucky win. But, we knew that win was coming. Like he'd always been challenging, and his average running position was like 3rd and one of the best ones at Darlington last year. The year before, 10th in his rookie season, which is good. His overall composite average and all the tracks and the speed, everything all considered, is 3rd here. So really like that. In 3 races, he's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. He's led some laps. His average finish is 5th. So lots of good things, I think, with Carson Hocevar. So, he's definitely one that I'm going to be looking at. I love the price tag at 8K. Grant Enfinger, all of a sudden out of nowhere last week. Like, this dude led, I think, like 3 laps. It had a completely disappointing uh, season so far, and he comes out and looks like Kyle Busch should look in the truck race, and just completely dominated out of nowhere. So 4 races here, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Like, every single race he's finished in the top 10. So another one to definitely watch here, especially with the recent form. Maybe they figured something out, so he's going to get a purple tag here as one to watch also. Byron is coming, and he's in a Kyle Busch truck, which is really good equipment. I believe he's in actually Kyle Busch's truck, the one that Kyle runs here. So he's run well in Darlington in Cup, 9 races. I believe this was in the truck series too. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 77 laps. Somebody that definitely could get out there, comfortable leading this race, understands the racetrack. So I think he's worth the pay up. He's not, 13,000 like Kyle Busch was. Going to be expensive, but probably someone that you're going to want in your cash lineup, at least as a block, because he's in really good equipment. He's really good at this track. He's a really good driver because he's a Cup driver coming down, men among boys sometimes. So I think you definitely need to consider him. Stuart Friesen, GPP here. 4 races here, 12th finish, 2 top 10s, 1 top 5. Only led 2 laps, but he just hasn't had a great season so far. He does come back at 6th in composite average, did really good at Homestead. So, tire wear tracks he's okay on. I think, being a dirt racer, that kind of helps with that. So I keep him in consideration. But as I look at the other people in the 9K range, I like Sanchez, I like Rhodes, I like Enfinger so much better than him. That or you save 1,000 dropping down the Hocevar. I think he's going to be a GPP here. Tanner Gray, same thing, GPP. If you look at all the tire wear tracks, like, his composite average is like 17, and which brings him 18th overall. 4 races here, average finish 30th. I just don't think he gets this tracked. 2 of them, 2 DNFs, so out of the 4, so he's only finished half of the races. So GPP for me. Matt Crafton, usually a cash play here. 5th overall in composite average. 3 top 5s, 7 top 10s in the 10 races, 8 finish. 88's a good price for him. Again, just hasn't had a super dominant year. He's always there. He's always in contention for things. He's a wily veteran, just years and years of experience. And actually, if you look at his, he's got the 4th highest projected score here. So definitely in play. So I guess I'll give him the purple here because I like the price at 8,800. So another one to consider in your player pool. Jack Garcia, another young driver here. 1 race, 13th, but I think that was the Martinsville. Don't really have a ton of data on him. It all depends on where he qualifies for this one. Ran strong last week also. Started 4th, ended 8th. So average running position 12. So he fell back a little bit. He didn't stay up in the top 10. So kind of, I like Sanchez a little bit better, but Jake Garcia is definitely in play here. Ross Chastain, he has raced quite a few times in the truck series this year, and it's just not been great. And I think it's just the truck and the equipment. So he did pull up a 5th last week though. So, but started 17th. His average running position was like 21st though. And if it wasn't for all the wrecks and attrition and stuff, then I don't think he would have gotten up there if it wasn't for avoiding the major wrecks. And the other thing too is, he can kind of go with a different strategy than everybody else because he's not trying to win points, so he could short pit and get track position. So definitely one to consider. He can dominate, but I think he's gonna be first guy in my GPP lineup. Same thing with Bubba Wallace. He's in the truck Benninger was in last week. Obviously, he's a really good driver here. 9 races in the truck series at Darlington here, but only a 22nd overall finish. Again, I don't know what quality trucks he was in the past. So, and this Tricon truck is decent. It's a Toyota. I don't think he's trying to get additional practice here. I think he's definitely in it to win it. It all depends on how he looks in practice and qualifying, but I think you got to give him the cash tag nonetheless. But it's going to be hard to fit him and like Byron in. That's why I'd probably prefer to drop down to like the Ben Rhodes, the Grant Enfinger, the Matt Crafton to kind of have a little bit more of a balance in your lineup. Tyler Ankrum at 7K here. I think you can put him in cash. Also, 4 races here. He's finished all of them. 13th overall finish, 12th overall average. So if he starts anywhere in the top 20, but not in the top 10, I think he's in play here. Unless he has like a super dominant truck and gets the pole or something, I don't think I'd be playing him if he's that high up. If he's anywhere 11th through 20th, that's kind of where I look him. If he's anywhere further on down, he just becomes even better play with place differential baked in. Haley Deegan's been having a solid year this year. If you look at the historic data, not great. Didn't finish the first race here at Darlington, but 24th and 19th overall running position, and obviously like no top 10s or anything. 26 finish overall, but based on current form at 6,500, I see how she looks. If she's really struggling in practice or like hits the wall or something qualifying and like the truck's a little bit banged up, then I wouldn't put her in cash. But I think that she's been holding her own and finishing in the top like 15. She's had some top 10s recently. Started 16th, got up to 12th last race at Martinsville. So definitely something that, and the similar track averages, like her average finish is 10th. So I think that's somebody that you can definitely consider. Taylor Gray, younger driver, not much experience here. So I think no, maybe he's run at Darlington these 3 races, but anyways, no, he hasn't. I probably pulled it from like similar tracks or something. So again, without a ton of experience, I think he's a GPP here. Caruth, I said he was a fade last week. I didn't think, I thought that he wasn't really good, but he started at 13th, and actually he was like up there contending. He had like a great average running position, and then I believe he got into somebody and caused a wreck, and he just wasn't giving somebody space up there. It was Ankrum or Majeski, one of the two of them. He was battling up in the top like 4, and he just would not lift and was kind of like pushing the guy up against the wall, and the guy had no choice but to come down on him, and he spun out and wrecked. So I like the aggressiveness, but I think it's until he figures out like when to pick and choose his battles, I think he's a danger to play in cash. So it's going to be GPP for me. Meti Benedetto, I think it's a cash play just because has so much experience at Darlington. But again, like this Rackley War truck, like he wasn't even a wreck last week. I think he no, he wasn't. Yeah, he had a mechanical issue, and we've seen that with these Rackley trucks. Caden Honeycutt, GPP, 2 races here, 31st finish, not interested. Depends on where he starts, but if you need like place differential, he starts like anywhere like 33rd on back potentially, but probably a fade. Parker Clingham at 82 just hasn't had a great, he ran really well at Darlington last season, and he's had okay numbers here, but just overall his form this season hasn't been spectacular. So I think I'm going to probably put him in a GPP. I mean, he's one of those guys that, like, if he's your last guy in your cash lineup, then I'm okay with it, but it just really hasn't super impressed me a lot this season. Brett Holmes, again, he's usually somebody's favorite, like, cheap play. It's like he and Dean Thomas seem like almost the same guy. But Holmes has been decent at times. He actually had 14th place finish after starting 28th, so he worked out well last week. So I just look at, like, his only comparable track is Homestead, and he had a really poor one there. Um, three races at some comparable tracks here in 27th overall. So again, I think he's not a bad punt play. I like him better than Lawless Allen as a GPP. Corey LaJoy, another Cup driver coming, but the Spire truck hasn't raced a lot here. So the truck, I don't know, was he in Martinsville 20? He's had 10 races here in Cup Series and 27th overall finish. Like, he's been in some rough cars for that. So again, I don't know how the tech is on the Spire truck and everything. 8,400 is a little bit steep, kind of no man's land, so probably a GPP. uh Dean Thomas, again, like, the truck should be decent. Tricon Garage, and I he had one race here and, like, finished 15th, so I think he's in play, but he does have his way of finding accidents and stuff. He finished 32nd last week. So GPP, Daniel Dye, same thing, young driver, sometimes is good. He was another one that was kind of hanging up there last week, and he actually did get it done. Like, he started 10th and finished 13th, so he was able to hold his own, but I've seen him crash a lot also. So that kind of concerns me. Colby Howard and Timmy Hill, I trust both these trucks here. If you look at their composites aren't, like, great, but at these prices, if they start anywhere 20th on back, I think they definitely have to be in play for solid finishes. Both have had multiple races here, and Howard's average finish is 13. Timmy Hill is two top tens. So at 5,900, that's definitely something to look at. It shows he really understands this track. Sauter I have as the prime play. He's a really good driver that's trying to get back into the series. He was not bad last week. He finished 19th after starting 27th. So, he's got at 7,200, it's not a bad price here. 5 races, 4 top 10s, 11th overall finish. So if he starts anywhere from 15th on back, the price again might be no man's land. So if he can't do it, then maybe the prime play down here would be Timmy Hill. But so I'm going to put Timmy Hill in purple here just so you can if you're keeping track. So he's the one, Timmy Hill, keeping your player pool. Saunders, like I said, is the prime play, but it all depends. Like, if he starts in the top 10, then I'm not going to consider him. But if he starts, like, anywhere like 15th on back, preferably below 20, then I think that he's definitely a driver that understands the track and can stay out of trouble. Cram is another guy that has a lot of experience, but he's in the Glory to God truck, which seems to really struggle. It's the same one Tim Vigans had last week. I don't know how far he's going to make in the race. I think everybody should qualify, but if there was one not to qualify, if there is a cutoff, then he would be it. Chris Wright, not great. Boyd, not great. So those sides are GPPs to fade, depending on if you need, like, a punt down here. The regulars in the series, which kind of helps, and their equipment's decent in this young trucks, but there's not much pointing to them being, like, super successful here. Brendan Poole is another Glory to God truck, which he seems to be overachieving in this. He actually had a nice finish last week. I was kind of impressed, kind of actually shocked, to be honest, but I think he avoided the attrition. He's a decent ride. He started 26, which I thought was way too high. We had him as a fade, finished 20th. I don't think it was, like, in the optimal lineup or anything, but at 4,700, in one race here finished 30th. Like, he as long as it doesn't look like there's any mechanical problems in practice and qualifying with the truck, I think this is the better out of the two truck between the 46 and the 47. And I think that he's a good enough driver to overcome that. So I have him as GPP, not as fade. But again, tread lightly. Ryan Vargas, he's a former Xfinity driver. He's got 5 races here in Xfinity Series, 25th overall finish. So this on point motor sports truck, it used to be the Brett Moffitt truck, similar to, I think they moved on to like 22, that was Austin Wayne Self. But this on point team is a decent truck, so definitely somebody to consider. And a cash play should probably start towards the back of the field, so keep him in mind too, as also like a decent value play for you, unless he starts like above the top 20. And Josh Williams going to be a fade. He's back in the 33, which between the 33 and the 47th, those are my 2 predictions, unless there's an early crash of one of them to finish last or multiple laps down. So that's what I got for the breakdown for you. Just remember, practice qualifying is coming up today, and then we'll have the real results and everything at FSI DFS. You can sign up by going to the description of the video, going to the website. It's only $5 for a week. And that will cover everything this weekend for you, Xfinity and Cup for you. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat below, or hit me up at MegaRover31 on Twitter. And then if these videos help you, I know like the speculation ones aren't as accurate as like the normal ones, but I think that just talking out the slate really does help. And again, we've hit on some nuggets in these, and the math has actually helped come close to reality in qualifying, and pointing out some potentially good plays. So like I said, I really like Hocevar, Brian, Byron, and Sauter here, just looking at things ahead of time, with Rhodes and Crafton, Hill, and Vargas being other ones I would like to probably sprinkle into my lineups if they start in the correct position and are good plays. So that's what I got for you. Look for the Xfinity video coming up and the Cup video also. Appreciate you watching. If these videos are helpful at all for you, then please help us back. Like the video, subscribe to our channel so you know when they're coming out, and continue to share with your friends. You've been doing an amazing job of that, because we just keep on growing in viewership and subscriptions, and it's all of you that are doing that for us. So I completely appreciate it. Love the comments, love the feedback. Anything I can try to do to make this these videos more helpful and better for you, then I'll try to incorporate that in if time permits. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.